Well, it's very good to have you with us at this hour. I'm Daniel Che. Let's begin with the countdown to an upcoming general election here in Korea on April 13th. And Korea's political parties are making a final push to finish their candidate nominations. The ruling Saenuri Party announced its list of candidates on Saturday. The main opposition Minju Party of Korea also released a list of candidates, including current interim leader Kim Jong-in, who will be running for seats as proportional representative. But there is still some confusion between the parties as lawmakers who weren't granted nominations in their own parties are switching affiliations or contemplating running as independents. The nomination process should be wrapped up by Thursday, the start of a two-day candidate registration period. North Korea has conducted military landing drills in what's being seen as a show of force against the ongoing Seoul-Washington combined exercises. Pyongyang is also beefing up its nuclear capabilities ahead of its Workers' Party Congress in May. Our Kwon So-hwa has the latest on the reclusive regime's moves that will stoke tensions further on the Korean peninsula.
Under the direction of leader Kim Jong-un, the North Korean military has conducted landing and anti-landing exercises, most likely in a show of defiance against the ongoing military drills by South Korea and the U.S. According to the North state media on Sunday, the drills involved surface ships, fighter planes, and artillery subunits. Kim was quoted as saying that a surprise landing and attack would lead to a victorious battle, which he said mainly depends on, quote, how to neutralize the enemy's possible anti-landing movements while getting over its coastal defenses at one go. The Korean Central News Agency did not mention when the drills were conducted, but experts believe it was Friday when the Seoul-Washington training exercise called Key Resolve ended. North Korea is also continuing to expose key nuclear and missile technologies. Pundits say North Korea's scientists and technicians are revealing military secrets in the process of boasting off their capabilities ahead of its ruling Workers' Party conference in May. An official at Seoul's defense ministry said Sunday that North Korea seems to be ready to conduct a fifth nuclear test whenever Kim Jong-un wants to. With tensions rising on the Korean peninsula, South Korea's Marine Corps launched a new mobile unit composed of 3,000 troops that are ready to attack the North's key facilities in the event of an invasion. Meanwhile, Seoul has expressed its concern about North Korea's recent short-range and mid-range ballistic missile launches to related international bodies. According to a government source Sunday, Seoul sent a letter to the International Civil Aviation Organization and the International Maritime Organization, in which it calls North Korea's launches dangerous, as the regime gave no notice prior to the tests. The two organizations are expected to raise the issue with the regime soon. Kwon So-hwa, Arirang News.
South Korea and the U.S. will hold their first round of high-level talks on the sanctions on North Korea in Seoul on Monday. According to an official at Seoul's foreign ministry on Sunday, South Korea's top nuclear envoy Kim Hong-kyun will meet Washington's special representative for North Korea policy, Sung Kim, at the ministry. This comes just 2 weeks after their first meeting in Washington. Seoul's chief envoy in handling North Korean nuke issues just returned from Beijing, where he held talks on the same issue with his Chinese counterpart. Monday's talks will also be attended by officials from the U.S. Treasury and the Department of Commerce, indicating the meetings will focus on the effective implementation of the sanctions on North Korea imposed by the UNSC and individually by the U.S. and South Korea. More than half of South Koreans with relatives in North Korea have died, surpassing the number of those who are still alive for the first time. A clear reminder of the urgency of holding reunions for families separated by the Korean War. According to data by the Unification Ministry and the Korean Red Cross, of the 130,000 South Koreans who have applied for reunions with family in the North, nearly 66,000, or 50.4%, have passed away as of February. It's the first time the number of those who have died have surpassed that of survivors. The data also shows that over 56% of the survivors in South Korea are 80 or older. The two Koreas have so far held 20 rounds of temporary family reunions since the year 2000. Last time it was held October 2015. There was a time when it seemed South Korean shipbuilders would forever stay on top in any category related to the business. The stark reality is the industry has been experiencing severe downturns and the country's three biggest shipbuilders are struggling. Hyundai, Daewoo and Samsung Heavy Industries used to hold a combined 70% of the market, but Chinese rivals have taken 40% out of that pie, with Yangzijiang Shipbuilding, the only Chinese shipbuilder that's not state-owned, spearheading that charge. Japanese shipbuilders were struggling to maintain a 10% share 10 years ago, but they too are recovering at an alarming rate. Japan's Imabari Shipbuilding has even managed to dethrone Samsung, which struggled last month with an order backlog of 5.08 million tons. And now here's a reminder of how serious the youth unemployment situation in Korea is. More than 70% of the people without a job last month were recent college graduates. Statistics Korea's report on Sunday shows 80,000 of the nation's 114,000 unemployed were ages 25 to 29. The jobless rate among those in their late 20s was 11.9% last month, adding 2.8 percentage points from a year earlier. The unemployment rate for people ages 15 to 29 hit a record high of 12.5% in February. U.S. President Barack Obama will arrive in Cuba on Sunday. It will be the first visit to the island nation by a sitting U.S. president in nearly 90 years. During his three-day stay, Obama is expected to meet with his counterpart Raul Castro and Cuban citizens from all walks of life. Shin Se-min has more on this historic trip.
It's a new era in the U.S. history of thorny relations with Cuba, as President Barack Obama is making his way to the island nation on Sunday. It's the first visit by a sitting U.S. president in 88 years, signaling a shift in the country's diplomatic approach from isolation to engagement. During the three-day visit, President Obama will be meeting with his Cuban counterpart, Raul Castro, and they're expected to discuss the next steps for the two countries in dealing with a set of complex issues, including Cuba's political and economic reforms. The White House said President Obama will also raise the issues of political prisoners and human rights. While in Cuba, the U.S. president will be speaking before the Cuban people. He will also meet with dissidents and attend an exhibition baseball game pitting the Tampa Bay Rays against the Cuban national team. But the itinerary does not include a meeting with the 89-year-old communist revolutionary Fidel Castro. The historic visit comes 15 months after the U.S. and Cuba announced a normalization of ties between the two countries after more than 50 years. Ahead of the trip, Obama had announced the U.S. would ease travel restrictions for U.S. citizens and restore Cuba's access to the international financial system. Furthermore, the U.S. airlines are expected to launch direct flights to the island later this year with up to 110 flights per day. The U.S. president's trip to the island nation, located just 140 kilometers off the southern tip of Florida, has been welcomed by world leaders and is raising expectations about the implications the visit will have on future generations. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Turning our focus to a presidential hopeful, Donald Trump clearly has an effect on people one way or another. Either way, he evokes visceral responses. On Saturday, anti-Trump demonstrators briefly shut down an Arizona highway leading to a campaign rally for the Republican frontrunner, while in New York, around 1,000 people marched from Central Park to Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. Some of the participants interviewed by media outlets were immigrant rights activists who denounced the real estate tycoon's rhetoric and his vague plan to make America great again. The protests are the latest in a series of increasingly violent scenes at Trump rallies in recent days. The former reality show star has continued to come under fire for fueling unrest with his blunt, in-your-face, no-holds-barred rhetoric, with President Barack Obama describing his language as vulgar and divisive. The Google DeepMind Challenge, where man battled machine in a game of Baduk, also known as Go, highlighted the latest developments in artificial intelligence and sparked interest in its potential applications. Park Se-young looks into how the field of medicine could benefit from smarter machines.
The medical field is undergoing revolutionary changes with the help of the latest technological advances. For example, major hospitals are switching to electronic health record-keeping systems.
MD Anderson realized early on that to really get the full patient experience, it had to be electronic. We had to move from a paper-based system to an electronic system.
Growing demand for products like these has fueled innovation at tech companies like IBM and Google. The two tech giants are exploring the limits of artificial intelligence and bringing their inventions into the medical field. IBM has a long history with AI. Its chess-playing computer Deep Blue defeated a world champion in 1997, and its supercomputer Watson became the winner of a quiz show in 2011. Its Watson Health system synthesizes data from medical records, scans, and other sources to help doctors identify ailments so they can treat patients more efficiently. Google, with its huge database of information, is quickly following suit. Its Paduk-playing computer program AlphaGo recently threw the spotlight back on the prospects for artificial intelligence. Building on this research, Google launched DeepMind Health last month to create apps for medical professionals. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
One clear sign that spring is in full bloom in Korea. Some of the country's biggest flower festivals opened over the weekend. The Gwangyang Mehwa Festival in Jeollanam-do province offers glimpses of pink and white plum blossoms dotting the hills overlooking the Samjingang River. And at the Gure Sansoyu Festival, visitors can admire brilliant clusters of cornelian cherry flowers on the foothills of Chirisan Mountain. On top of the fresh air and picturesque moments, there are plenty of local specialties and outdoor activities to sample. Both festivals go on for a whole week. And now for a quick look at the weather before we let you go. It looks like the clear skies and warmer days will continue in Korea this week, but be prepared for sharp differences in the daytime and nighttime temperatures. On Monday, Seoul, Daejeon, and Daegu will start off at a chilly 4 degrees Celsius, but the mercury will later shoot up to 17 in Seoul, 18 for Daejeon and Daegu. Some level of fine dust will also be in the air, so do carry a mask with you. That's Korea for you. Let's check out the weather conditions outside of the nation, around the world. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.